everyone. I'm Liz Hunt.
And I'm Chelsea Poppens.
And this is the Agency Rocket Show, where we talk about everything there is around the general chaos of running a creative agency. So, what are we talking about today, Chelsea?
Today we are talking about pro bono work.
Everybody's favorite topic.
Yep. So we're talking about pro bono work. What kind of pro bono work that we've done in the past, what qualifies as pro bono work, when and who you should be doing free labor for. What kind of layers to your friendship actually qualify for free?
That is a very leading question, Chelsea.
I
feel like I feel a little targeted. I'm not gonna lie.
The facts of this matter is that this podcast was already recorded once.
Okay.
But Liz's audio didn't record, so now we got to do it again. So we got this one down almost.
Except for I forgot everything.
So it is a new episode in Liz's mind.
I have no recollection of that. Recording simply because my audio wasn't there.
Yeah. So I guess I can take a little bit of a lead. Some pro bono that I've done in the past has been one for my neighbor, some branding, some website stuff.
Wait, you did branding for your neighbor?
A small amount, a very color scheme, and then I showed you it.
No, you didn't.
You did.
You didn't.
I told you I partnered with my old teammate at Iowa State, and she did some very basic branding and logo options for my neighbor. Yeah.
When did you do this? I don't remember this. I didn't see it.
See, it's a new day for Liz.
Every day is a new day.
But yeah, she just created a general color palette with a couple logo. She was a cheaper rate. She wasn't let's do a full blown branding. So it wasn't a DayCloud type of thing. And we did a lot of the stuff for trade on my end of things, where she was cleaning my house for other stuff. Plus, she's just a great person. So I wanted to help her in whatever way I can. I think when you have the tools to help people, it's very hard not to help people because everything that they're trying to do as a startup business, you're you just have to do this, 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 and this. And I have the people, I have the network, and you feel called and qualified and tooled up to help those people. Tooled up. Yeah. All the tools in the toolbox. But I think one of the things I've learned through that process is setting expectations in your own mind when you're giving free work is if you're giving free work to a friend, you have to just understand that you can't expect anything back unless it's written down in a contract or just some sort of just written deliverables. You're you'll do this, I'll do this many times. Because otherwise it's just going to ruin your friendships. It's going to build just a disconnect in your friendship, and it's going to get weird. So I think always if you choose to do free labor, don't expect anything back. If you do get anything back, cherry on top, unless otherwise noted.
Yep. That's a tough lesson that we've all had to learn when it comes to good old pro bono free / for trade work. It's When it comes to this kind of stuff, I like to have 3 different protocols that we live by at DayCloud and the agency and stuff. One is we won't do anything for the agency. We won't do anything that's truly pro bono. We will always do it for trade. We will always do it, not necessarily it doesn't have to be paid via cash, but we need to get something in return, whether that is a service that the client can offer us in return. I've heard of some friends who got paid in ice cream because they did branding for an ice cream parlor or something, and so they could go back to that ice cream parlor for a lifetime or something, So Or like for us, we like to do work for trade in our locally for our neighborhood. But like I said, that's our one of our main protocols for pro bono stuff is that we do it for trade. And so what we do is we say, okay, great, we will totally do the branding for this neighborhood event and, you know, all the accoutrement that goes along with it. But we need to have our logo as a sponsor for this, and this. You know, it needs to be part of the PR campaign. It needs to be a part of the website and all your social posts and like all these different things. So we do it for trade. That's kind of protocol.
I just want to pause you. You snuck that big word in there, and I've been stuck on it ever since it came out of your accoutrement. Accoutrement. I was like, oh, I see you with that big word.
Do you need me to explain it to you, Chelsea?
I was like, I get it, but maybe some other people don't. Sure. Give us can you use it in a sentence? What's the derivative?
Oh my God.
You spell it.
I meant like additional materials, extra materials.
I liked it. Use it more.
Oh, okay.
Liz and I are going to start coming to the podcast with large words for you guys to look up. Just like we're going to work them into our speech.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I suppose I will acquiesce that to you.
Oh,
You're welcome. Okay. So anyway, so that's protocol number 1 that we have is like always do it for trade. And then protocol number 2 is that if they are my family, or in this case, also Chelsea's family. And by family, I mean true family, like my nuclear family, mom, dad, brother, sister, obviously my husband, or my friends who are my absolute best friends in life. They are basically family to me. So I would consider them in this, like Chelsea mentioned earlier, this layer of family, friend circle. I will gift our services to them. And like Chelsea mentioned, I don't do it for trade. I don't do it for money. I don't want anything in return. I want to be the type of friend and family member that is always generous. And so I will always gift. And I don't expect anything in return. It's very important that to me that I don't hold anything over my friends' heads, that they don't feel like they owe me anything, that like you said earlier, Chelsea.
No social debt.
Yeah, that there's no like weird social debt or financial debt. Like, you know, like that money makes friendships weird. And that has happened time and time and time again. One of the first projects I did in college was for a friend, and I made him a logo. He didn't like it and didn't tell me. He just ghosted me, did a different logo for someone else, and never paid me for the work that I did. And so like, and then ever since then, I've just been like, that was super weird. And I'm not friends with you. Like ever since then, I was like, I'm not going to hold things over friends or family like that. And so I always gift if it's someone that is in the specific circle of best and close family members. Always.
I think that's a good rule of thumb. And I think a piece of it is where you are at in your experience and your career. I think we've spoken about people who are early on in their design career or even like website career. You start low on your prices because you're like, oh, you want to get confidence and you want to feel qualified in order to charge that rate. And a lot of times it's difficult to charge like people right off the bat for your services when you're like, oh, I've never created like an invite, a baby shower invite or something like small like that. You're like, yeah, I can just whip that up. But then as you feel more confident, you increase your rates. Like one of my friends, she's a graphic designer, but like she was doing free work for one of our friends and she's just getting like the confidence to like kind of like count out like deliverables and then actually charge a rate. So it's like, it is building that confidence and knowing who to do free work for. And then also like, I think people learn more that their time is more valuable than they initially thought, because I think you go from having like so much time to being like, I need to like prioritize my time. And that's just a maturity and realizing that there are only so many hours in the day. And if you are working, or like using your God-given talents and skills to do something, you should get paid for it. And sometimes this is the thing I'm learning, or like I'm getting tested. That's the right word this week. I'm getting tested this week because I train kids in basketball, and when people ask for like petty discounts on like a small group lesson or something like that, I'm like, no, I am not charging out of the water rates. Like I put blood, sweat, and tears into my basketball career in order to be a professional and play in the WNBA and play overseas for that many years. I have a good enough resume to like charge mediocre rates for things, and not have you ask for a discount and like feel as if it's like kind of like just like a little sign of disrespect. Just about the ask. I had one person be like, you have a really impressive resume, but your prices are kind of steep. And like, I'm like, I only charge like $30 for a small group lesson. And it's like 5 kids. I'm like, do you understand like the overhead cost of just like court rental? This is my Chelsea Poppens TED Talk. I'm passionate about it right now.
And like, that's the thing, is you absolutely should be, because people will always try to bully you into discounting or into cheapening your prices. And, like, you really have to, you always have to decide, like, do I need the work or not? Like, if you need the work, then maybe you do have to discount it. But like in your case,
it's my side hustle.
It's your side hustle. It's something you do as a hobby, on the side, right? As a side hustle, of course. But, and so like, you don't need the extra $25 from him for something like that. And so it's like, hey, bro, back off, like you're being ridiculous.
I will say I've learned in my time working at DayCloud, and for you, the ability to say like, we're not a good fit. I don't think, or just like putting it back on you so you don't have to like feel like you're attacking them. You're like, I don't think I'm the right fit for you. And it's like, just like a very like backhanded, not really backhanded, front-handed slap, not to close the door, but like not.
I mean, it's just like a really
subtle
mature professional way of saying like, hey bro, you're fired. Like, I'm not gonna work with you. You suck. But like, that's okay. You're not for everyone. Like no designer, no marketer, no agency, no trainer is for every single person on the planet. There's enough work to go around for all the designers, all the agencies, all the trainers, all the basketball trainers. There's enough kids that need trained for all the other trainers. The sports things.
I think it's also about like we spoke about time and valuing your time. I think a lot of people think saying no initially in their career is saying no to work is such a bad thing. Like I said, they might need it. But like, I think if you flip that thought mentality to be like, if I say no to this, it opens the door for something that is much more productive for a client, that's much more appreciative and easier to work with. Like think of it as opening the door for other possibilities.
And you mean pro bono stuff? Or do you mean in general?
I got off the topic of pro bono. I was talking in general. My bad.
No, that's fine.
My mind was floating.
Well, okay, so here's the thing. I disagree with that, actually. I think when you're first starting out, you have to say yes to everything. Yes to everything and anything that anyone is giving you. Unless it's like outside of your wheelhouse, so far outside your wheelhouse, or, like...
Yeah, I think our mentality, the season of them, you're thinking like very early on. I'm thinking like still early on, but like not like beginner mode.
You're not desperate.
Like, you're in that intermediate space where you're like, all right, my client book is getting and saying no. Like,
But then this is my thinking, like, I'm a futuristic thinker. And so like, you don't want to say no to people too much, because then 6 months down the road, when you need those projects, you won't have anything coming down the pike. So, you really, this is something that really bugs me about young designers, is that they say no to work quite a bit. And they're constantly talking about how like they're too busy to take on any extra work. And so they're like telling us, no, I can't do that. And so then like, I will never return to that person ever again to ask them to do freelance work for us or something like that, because like, obviously you're not hungry, like you're not hungry for the work. You're not willing to hustle. And so, that immediately is a huge turnoff to me. Because I'm like, when I was doing this as a freelancer, I took everything and anything, and I would say yes to everything so that I could build a business to what it is now. And so and not everybody has to be like me, right? You don't have to say yes to everything. And like you're saying, like you can start to be choosy at some point, and you should start to be choosy at some point. And like, not everyone is going to be like me. I get that. But I'm just saying, be cautious and hesitant to say no, because at some point the work is going to dry up and you're going to wish you said yes.
I think there's other ways to say no, but like you said, in a yes form. Like if they really truly don't have capacity to be like, yes, I can take this on, but maybe like, like in 30 days when like, this is my timeline.
Yeah. Yep. And honestly, the change of communication is like way better than just being like, no, sorry, I don't have capacity for this. Just say yes, and it'll be a month from now that I'll be able to start. Like, and then that's
puts the ball back.
Yes. And that's something that we do at our agency, is we tell every client, like, it is always a yes. It's always a yes. Whatever you want, whatever you need, it's always a yes. It might be a yes but it's always a yes.
Yes and
we'll send you a bill for all the extra dollars you're asking for, like all the extra scope you're asking for. Yes, and it's going to be 60 days from now. Yes, and, whatever. But it's always yes.
Charismatic way of putting the ball back into the client's court or whoever's court for them to be like, well, that doesn't work with my expectations. And then they end up saying like no to you. So like, yeah.
Exactly. It's yes, and here are the options. Yeah.
I mean, it's so funny because like giving people making sure people know that they have options, or like they know what the options are, is so important. Like, it makes me reflect back to like my aunt who's like with her kids, and she's like, here are your options. Like, you can go to bed or you can get spanked or something like you got like two options.
There you go.
But they know they had a choice in the matter.
Yeah. And honestly, that works great for kids, and it works great for clients.
You're going to say they're going to be like adults in general.
I mean, yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. And going back to the pro bono conversation, you were talking about your friend Lauren, who has been doing stuff for her friends for free and is now like at least writing down like her deliverables and all that stuff. That made me think of something else we should probably mention, which is when we're talking about doing stuff for trade, we do write out, hey, these are all the deliverables you're asking us to create, and then we assign the cost to it, and like not just the
knowing the value.
Yeah, just like the full value of it, not just like, well, here's like wholesale cost or whatever that thing is, but it's like, no, here's what it is. Here's what we would charge you for building this little event page. It would be this, and here's what it would be for us to help run your social media for this event and stuff like that. And then we tell them we expect an in-kind trade for our efforts. So I just wanted to clarify how we do that specifically. And we also always do a contract with that. We say, hey, here's our contract. No cash is going to be transferred. It is going to be an in-kind switcheroo. What I can't remember what our contract language is, but it's like, it's very contracty. It's like, hey, like, we are going to provide these deliverables and you are going to provide this set of in-kind sponsorship package back in return for these deliverables and stuff. So we do require them to sign a contract first.
Yeah, I think making sure people understand the monetary value. I make it in any situation, whether that's like, I don't know, I have no examples in mind right now, but like, just like being like, if I build that website for my neighbor, I'm like, if you built this website, it would probably be like a $5,000 or more website. And so like putting things in reference for people who are not used to working in that specific industry that you're in, you're like, oh, well, I made this invite, but I'm doing this for free, but it would typically cost somebody about like, whatever, 300, 500, whatever many hours you put in on a normal basis.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Or at an agency, it would cost like this. You always just like put things in perspective to the people you're working with.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're doing the industry a favor, because now that person understands and knows like, this is how much these things typically cost. And you're doing yourself a favor too. The other thing we always do is say, you only get 2 rounds of edits. And this is something we do with all of our projects. And so this is very, very important, especially for pro bono stuff, for trade and all this stuff, which is limit the number of edits that a person gets. Because for some reason, if it is pro bono work, they will have pages and tens of thousands. I know I'm being hyperbolic, but they will have so many rounds. Hey, if you want to have more than 2 rounds of edits, guess what? You're going to have to start paying cash then.
People, I think the thing is like, people don't think. Like, oh yeah. I guess a lot of people think very sporadically about things when they have time to sit with them, and then they're like, oh, and this. Yeah. And then like when there's multiple people in the room, like we've spoken in the past, like it's even more chaotic on the feedback and just like reeling it back in. People don't think super linearly of their thoughts on things. And I'll say even like Lauren, when we've used her as like a design contractor, she'll be like, one of the things like, she's like, I really appreciate is like when you guys only have like 2 rounds of edits for things. Like there's no like going back and forth. It's clear cut, dry. This is the edit. Yeah. And then that's the round. And then you go from there. Like, yeah, it's super important. And for some reason, it's very important for pro bono work. I don't know. It's just the mentality behind it. You're not getting paid for it, really. So like, it's just like a little more of a, like it's easier to get like angry or bitter about something that you're spending time on that is getting drawn out, but you're not getting any monetary value from it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to put a limitation on that and communicate it at the beginning. Have it in the contract, communicate it up front. We're going to do this. You get 2 rounds of edits per deliverable. After that, we will start charging you our hourly rate and you will pay us, Yeah. Good stuff.
Do you have other pro bono stories of things gone wrong? You have much more than me because you're so much older and wiser than me.
I am wiser, but not
older and wiser than me. And more beautiful.
It's almost 40, Chelsea.
50. Wow.
Oh, shut up. What other good pro bono stories do I have? Well, mostly it's like all the fails I've had. We didn't limit the number of edits. Learned that lesson because they gave us like 15 rounds. So that's why we have a limit now. Yeah.
Liz has been known to trade services for shakes.
Yeah,
food.
Smoothies.
Will work for food is his motto in their local gym.
In my gym, we do a chalkboard sign for him, and I get free smoothies from my gym. It's great. They're very tasty, Chelsea.
I'm going to stop by and get a free smoothie one of these days. And be like,
this is Liz's smoothie, so.
Tell her it's done for
Delicioso.
today. She doesn't get another one.
Rude. I want my smoothie. I eat it for breakfast.
So yeah.
All that to say, it is a very viable thing to do. Obviously, nothing can ever quite replace cash, but it's great if you set up your parameters and communicate expectations early and often.
Just be careful in pro bono work and maintaining your friendships and relationships so that you're not burning bridges accidentally.
Oh, that's kind of that was my third thing. Sorry, before we wrap up. My third thing was I kind of have a second tier of like friends that I offer a couple different things. I offer quasi discounts on the projects that we give them, on the work that we do for them, depending on what it is that we're doing. Sometimes I'll give discounts, sometimes I won't. It just depends on who they are, what the company is, what the project is. So sometimes I will. But the other thing, go ahead. Yeah,
well, I think that we've given discounts on projects that we expect to have larger projects in the future. So it's like that foot in the door for for much larger projects. And that's just like more of a strategic play on our part from really clients and the things that we want to do. So we'll take on projects that we don't necessarily really care about, but we'll at a discounted rate so that we can get the projects that we truly want.
That's a really good point. That's a very good point. I keep having this thought. What is it? Oh, the thing about, keep in mind too, that your friends should, like, you love your friends, right? You want to be generous to them and, you know, like, you want to gift them things, but keep in mind that your friends should also love you enough that they want to pay you too. So, and obviously if it's close friends and family, like best friends, like I will always just gift and I will not take money from them. But like, perhaps it's like not a best friend or something. And maybe you run into a situation where it's somebody that is like expecting a discount from you because you're friends, but like not best friends or something. I would say be really careful about that, because if that were me, I would want to pay my friend for a service. I would want to give them the full value of what they are providing, because I want to like bless my friend and I want to treat my friend great. And I want to give whoever that is like as much money as I can. So like
you want to make sure that they know that they're valued to you.
Yes,
and you never want to take advantage of their friendship.
Exactly. And so I would say be really careful about friends who are potentially expecting a discount, trying to take advantage, that kind of thing. Because in my head, you know, you really want, like if it were me, I would want to go above and beyond for my friends. I would want to pay them the full price just to like bless them. And, you know,
you never want to feel like a mooch either.
Exactly.
Like, with my friends, like like my old teammate is a graphic designer, like I always pay her, whatever it is. Like if you make a logo for my dad, like for like Poppens Family Farms, like I'll pay her for that, like, to create it. She'd be like, it's free. I'm just like, let me pay you something. Yes. I don't ever want to feel like I am just asking stuff from my friends. That's not a two-way street, because I'm going to use that dumb phrase that I always mess up. Like, high waters raise all ships. Like
rising tides raises all ships.
But like if I am doing good things and I am like elevating where I'm at and the people around me, that includes my friends. And that includes the work that I'm having them do for me. I think the boundaries of like the professional boundaries of like, this is like work and this is friendship. Like, you're also helping each other succeed at the end of the day. And like, I think all my friends know that like, I will always try to get them paid, whether like whether I'm doing stuff for like Iowa State or like I'm gonna be like, well, I was like, I'll get you paid. Give me a number. It's the inner project management person in me. Like, exactly. But for me, it's really hard for me to ask for money. I'm because it's my time. And like, but I still fight that barrier on like side stuff where I'm like, I can help.
Yeah, for sure. And you make a really good point. You said it really well. Like, you want your friends to succeed, and your friends should want you to succeed. So if you have a friend coming to you asking for you to do a project and they are expecting a discount, trying to take advantage, I would say, like, if you don't want to give them a discount or don't, I would say like, hey, like, this is my living. This is how I make a living. And don't you want me to be successful at this? If so, like, you should treat me like I am as valuable as you think I am. And, as someone who has friends that definitely would do this, and as someone who would definitely do this to her friends, I just think that it's super important to be able to have that, and definitely be able to recognize it if you have a friend who's maybe a little off in that. So just something to consider. So
I agree.
Yeah.
The other thing that I don't think we've mentioned yet is that don't do pro bono work if you have to pay other people through that pro bono work. So if it's free, but you have to pay people, don't do it. Like, someone's got to get paid. And if it's coming out of your own pocket, it's not a good decision.
Like contractors and things. If it's somebody who's on salary or already working for you, you already have to pay them anyway. That's probably fine. You just have to obviously be careful not to overspend. But like, don't do pro bono work and then hire a bunch of contractors to do it, because then you are spending your own dollars to do the project. So just don't do that. I love it. Good talks.
Good talks.
So those are our recommendations and just how we run through pro bono stuff, protocols, all that good stuff. Let us know if you have questions.
Share, follow, send us your feedback, email us.
Not feedback, just questions.
Well, if people like it, I want to hear that they like it.
Oh, yeah. Only if you like it.
If you don't like it, don't say nothing. We don't need it.
My little heart can't handle bad feedback yet.
We don't need that negativity in our lives. It was just the full moon. We were already chaotic.
Let's wait till we're on episode 100, and then we can start getting negative feedback.
And then we'll have that thick skin built up.
Yeah. Be great.
Yeah. Peace out. A time.
Thanks, everyone.